Alteryx, and we are going to look into the select tool, and we are going to look into this tool, like how to use this tool. So in the last session, we looked like input and output file components, where we were trying to connect with multiple Excel files in the Alteryx designer. So if you see now, we have all the multiple files here. So if you see US accident file, which I have created one folder almost, and if you see the data size is almost it's a 3 GB or around 2 GB of data which is running, and there are some of the warnings is there, so you can avoid these warnings, and you see like how many files we are reading from each of the from that folder. So how we connected this, and also like select tool. What is the use of select tool and why we are using this tool, and the browse tool we know to view the output. So we will be looking into this. Okay. So we can copy this also. Like for example, if you see here, or either I can create a new one. So I will bring a new input data from here, and I'll set up a connection, and I'll just go here, select again this connection. And if I see, or let me delete this workflow which is created. So let me create a new one, input data, and set up a connection again. So US accident. So now you see it is currently one file, right? If I execute this, or if I browse this data, so it will showcase like what is the size of the file, and also like about the metadata of this file and everything it will showcase. So currently so let's run this, and we'll see how much data we are loading. So if you see, this many record has been loaded, and this is the file name, right? So two files. If you see here, this record input data and the browse tool we are using to view the data. Now, for example, and if you see here, all the columns are also there, like ID, source, start time, end time, description, street, and all these columns are here, right, in the data, like what are the columns and number of rows, how many records, and it is what is the size of the file also, like 238 MB of the file. So you see there are some of the errors are there. So we can avoid this error. This is not very complex error, but we we are able to execute the file, and we are able to see the record. Now, for example, if I have the same kind of files, and we have like a different the file names are different, or it is just, if you see US accident part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. So how we can configure that? So here I can come and US accidents and underscore, and I can remove this part underscore and just put a star, and let's refresh this. So here we won't be able to see, because it will showcase only the preview of the record. So let's run and see how many records it is running. So if you see now, it is taking some of the time, like 1%, and then how much file it is reading. So here also we can see like what are the files. If we are running the workflow, so US accident part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. So we are able to get almost like 10 million of records in Alteryx. Currently, if you see, like we are processing 1.1 GB of data, almost 2 GB of data in this Alteryx workflow. And yes, we can process more than 1 GB or 2 GB, or more than 10 GB also. There is no restriction. So because it is a on-prem tool, as I mentioned in my previous session, so we don't have to like restrict the data size, like there is a restriction you cannot process. But yes, we need to create such kind of workflow, so which can help us to drive our workflow or macro in a such a way, so we should be able to get that data in a few seconds or in a few minutes. That is also our objective while creating any of the workflow in Alteryx. Okay. So now the session is about like select tool deep dive. So what is the use of select tool? So why we are using? So let's bring the select tool component. We can see this component under the favorites as well, or you can go to input output or join or preparation. Here also you can find this select tool. Okay, so you can bring here this select tool. So currently you see there is no column, so it is showing unknown. We have to first create a connection of any of this tool. So I'm going to delete this component and I'm going to select this. So for example, like we can say if we are working on such kind of data where we don't need everything, right? So we can uncheck some of the columns, like for example, I need source ID, source and start time, end time, street description, distance, city, country, state only. So in that case, this tool is really useful for us, like to select a column or like select a files as well when we are creating a macro. So I will show you, apart from this, we can create a batch macro as well to get the data. And if I want, like for example, humidity, weather condition, so only couple of columns, I'm not bringing everything, and then I am trying to see the data, right? So here if we click on the select tool, for example, like I can go to favorites as well, and here we can see like what is the objective of the, we can open the example and it will give us like kind of a description. So it will allow you to select the columns that flow downstream to the data, rename, reorder columns, modify data types, and add column description. So for example, here if you want to change a data type also, like you want to change the data type to v string to double or something else, we can do that, right? And start time and end time. If I want to make it like a date only, so let's make it as a date, this data type. So I made some couple of changes to two of the columns, start time and end time. Now I want to browse the data. So if I click on the run, so it will process all the data, but in the output, it will show you like only those data which is required for our reporting need or analysis needs, or if we want to just consume that data or to present that data. So if you see 2.8 GB of total data, and out of that 1.8 GB of some data has been processed. And then here we see only those columns which we selected from the select tool. And now we see like start time and date time. So this, the field of this is, now it is date. And out of that we can like, yes, obviously we can output this data using the output data as well. So we can connect directly to this and connect with this, and then we can just create a new file, set up a connection, and select the file. You can go here and just you can, we can create a new file here and just us accident combined final data set. So we can select this file, click save. Do you want to already exist? Do you want to replace it? Yes, click yes, click OK, and here we can see that. So if I run the file, so let's see, it will take some time because now we are working with like a big data kind of a data set. So where we are processing like almost 1 GB of data. So it might take some time to execute that data, right? So let's see how much time it is taking to process the entire data. And if you see like it is showing the designer engine, how much memory it is required, allocating requested memory, and then here we can see like how many files are still getting. So we are using lot of now components, so we have to be very very careful when we are working on a big data kind of a project as well, like to process those kind of data or this much data or 2 GB file. If I have to combine in one Excel file, so obviously the file size will, your system might impact the performance might impact. So that also we need to keep that in mind. So now if you see, it is still taking to process the data, right? And here we can see what are the configurations. So this is the use of select tool, like what we are using or what are the data we are connecting with that, and also like what we can use to select or modify the data types if we have to rename or reorder or describe Also, like this component is to order the columns in ascending or descending. We can add some prefix as well. So for more information, we can go to their documentation, and there also we can see like okay, how what are the other things we can use while using this component, right? So this is about the select tool deep dive, and the workflow is still running. It might take some time to execute the entire workflow because we are trying to process the 2 GB of data into one, and then we are trying to load this entire data. If you see, still it is running, right? So here the all the input data has been recorded. Here we can see the information we can see. So allocating memory, and here you can see what all the uh, errors are there, but we have to ignore these errors. Like these errors are not the real errors where we can. And here, this is the output data. The seat one is already exist in this. So write something. So we can like stop. Let's stop this workflow, and let's more option. Let's open the file. Let's see what is the issue. So seat one. Let's rename this as output. Output underscore one, and save this file, and let's execute this workflow again. So now you see it is running again. The entire workflow will run again. So it is reading the file part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Now if you see, it is processing faster. So there was an issue while loading the data or combining all this or writing the data to an Excel file. So that's the reason. Otherwise, you can see like it is processing the whole data, number of record. So if you see here, like number of record exceed the Excel minimum. So in Excel, we have a limitation also. So that also we need to keep that in mind. Like, is it possible to load all this data? So 2 GB file it is more in Excel. So it will not process the whole data. But yes, the idea was to understand like what is the use of the select tool, so that we can see here like yes, this is what we can do with the help of select tool. We can select the columns, we can make the changes to the columns. So those things we can do. So thank you very much for watching this, and stay tuned, like, subscribe, and comment, and please share your feedback as well. And also let me know if you are looking for some specific topics on Alteryx. I'm happy to help you. Thank you.